stood out cause you were in red. Then, against my intentions, I let you turn me violet instead. Summer high, met you in August. New York, back to my cold apartment. Distance sucks, but at least I'm still with you. Whiteout skies, middle November. You and I, flights to wherever. I don't mind, as long as it's with you. As long as it's with you. The festival that we met at, where you were just a face in a crowd. And now I can't imagine me with anybody else. As we close out the night underneath the lilac sky. Summer high, met you in August. New York, back to my cold apartment. Distance sucks, but at least I'm still with you. Whiteout skies, middle November. You and I, flights to wherever. I don't mind, as long as it's with you. 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 Next year will be close. I will wait as long as it's for you.
I don't know what to say, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do. Colors all around, but I don't see anything but blue. Get lost in the sound, go back to the start. Let's go out of the dark. Let's go out of the dark.
Hey, how's it going, YouTube? Today's video, we're going to be going over the 12-link claw. I was finally able to get my hands on one and try it out. Lastly, if you do remember, I did try to use the claw many times, but it never got made in time. And by the time it actually came out, I ended up playing a lot of the events. So I never actually got to try it out. I did try out the 12-link sword before, but unlike a claw, you can't use Nightblade on a sword, and that makes it a huge difference in survivability and damage, right? So we're going to go over the way I decided to utilize this claw and why I think that this claw is a really worthwhile investment if you want a magic find. And if you like magic find and you wanted to try out something a little bit different, I do think that even without the 12-link claw, you can make a lightning strike, or you can even make a Frostblades character, or whatever skill you want with the archetype of of strike skills and omniscience. Now the reason being is that you can get an insane amount of quant. This is my current quant and rarity, which is 81% quant and 361% rarity, and this can be bumped up to nearly 400% if you invested it a little bit more. So we're going to go over what exactly we're doing with this claw, how we can build a magic find character of Lightning Strike or Frostblades. And yeah, like you saw earlier in the clips, the character feels pretty similar to how the Lightning Strike Berserker felt. So basically, we want to ask ourselves, why do we want the 12 Blade Claw? The Claw is a complete game changer compared to a mere wordy weapon. So if you compare to an Ellie Claw, it is roughly double damage compared to a perfect Elemental Claw. So the reason being is that you have so many links, so you do need to find a way to scale the flat damage. So if you look at here, we're running Frostblades, Awaken added lightning damage, Trinity. And then in the Squire, we're running Nightblade, Inspiration, actually item rarity. And item rarity actually gets boosted by the Squire, 8% quality to support gems, so it goes up to 74% rarity on one link, right? So because of that extra link, this actually allows us to get even more rarity compared to other MF setups. However, this does make the character a lot squishier since Squire is not really exactly the best weapon for defenses. If we look at the Squire over here, there's no life on it. There is a decent amount of armor and evasion though, but no life, no spell suppression makes it kind of a weak shield defensively compared to rare shields. And if you're not using Magic Fight, I do think that the 12 Link Claw is probably not needed in that the damage is completely overkill. You don't really need 250 million DPS compared to 100 million DPS. You are not really going to notice a huge difference. But a nice part about the 12 Link Claw in a Magic Fight scenario is when you frame it within the lens of you trying to get Magic Fight, the damage is not really overkill anymore because Magic Fight is all about trying to find a nice balance between your DPS right here and how much clear you still have. So you don't sacrifice too much clear, which is pretty much quad. And that really allows the 12 Lane Claw to shine in these scenarios in that the damage is completely needed. And it also allows you to play some off-meta skills like Frostblades and still have enough damage, right? Because Frostblades is honestly pretty bad in damage compared to Lightning Strike. And just to demonstrate that, we're going to switch this gem over to Lightning Strike and you'll see how much more DPS Lightning Strike is, right? And this is pretty much just because Lightning Strike has such a high base damage. So this is pretty much already 14 to 18 mil nearly. And it doesn't even account for the fact that you can double hit with the melee hit and projectile without having to use like Hydra Spear, which doesn't even work anymore, or some other skill, right? So Lightning Strike does like more than double damage than Frostblades. But 12 Lane Claw does enough damage and allows you to place Frostblades if you really wanted to. So what exactly is the Magic Fight build I'm running? So I have around 81% quad and 400% rarity, like I said. And we are using 2 Ventors for 10% quad each. Gold Worm for 20% quad. Divination Dislet with 12% quad. Greed's Embrace Perfect Roll is like 15% quad. Omniscience is corrupted with quantity actually for up to 5% quad. And eventually you could change the Omniscience out to Eyes of the Great Wolf, which has 20% quad. So if you change it out to Eyes of the Great Wolf, you end up with nearly 100% quad. But the problem with Eyes of the Great Wolf is Omniscience Amulet is kind of OP at the moment. If I take off Omniscience Amulet, especially with this Corrupt I currently have, I think I need to make up a huge amount of resist in order to use Eyes of the Great Wolf. I do think that the damage will probably get offset by me dropping the item rarity link, and I will eventually use a regular damage link if I do use Eyes of the Great Wolf. So in the end, the big difference is about the the resist and being unable to make up for the resist. So if we look at the gear here, we are using the 12 Lane Claw, we have the Squire, and then this Blizzard Crown I decided to roll myself. I just spam some pretty much, what did I spam? I spammed some life essences and I think I annulled off the life I originally had. But basically this is a double rarity roll as life on it. Oh no, I did Reforge more likely with 2 rarity and T1 life, and I ended up with this, which is double rarity, T1 rarity on prefix and suffix. And I got suppression, and I decided to craft rarity of items dropped by slain, rare, or unique enemies. So this helmet is pretty much 90 rarity right here. Greed's Embrace does give you 15% quad and then up to 50% rarity. Now, if you were going to try to min-max this character, you'd probably get +1 support gems, but that would require you using like 1500 Vol Orbs, and even after doing a bunch of farming, I only have 844 Vol Orbs. So that does save you some mana. As you can see, the skill does cost a lot of mana, 32 mana, and I only have 52 unreserved. So that would help out a lot in trying to lower the mana cost. I do have 2 Ventor's Gambles, and they have make sure to focus on the quant. Quant is more important than rarity generally. And I think these ones ran around like 10 to 15x each. So this one has 44, 8, 49 res, and this one has 46 and 16 res, and both perfect 10 quant rolls. So Demons Touch, I'm running LA Weakness. You can also run +1 Frenzy or Attack Crit or no Corruption at all. But the most important roll is definitely the 10% quant here. So Headhunter here, the main thing you could get on Headhunter is actually a Rarity Implicit Headhunter, but a Rarity Implicit Headhunter is pretty expensive, so let's see if we can search here. So here we can go to here and add a stat filter, Implicit Rarity, right? I think it runs around 200x or so. But if you have this mod over here, it will actually bump it up enough to be able to get around like 400% rarity. Let's actually like rid of these mods here. So let's see. Oh, corrupted, yes, right. So you can see a rarity. Headhunter is around 150x, 170, 175x. So pretty wide ranging in price. Ideally, you want to try to get an omniscience roll with the 5% int or 6% int like this one. This one has 29% rarity. So yeah, it's around like double the price. So I'm not really sure how worth it is, but if you're trying to min-max the build, you definitely want to get a rarity Headhunter in the end. So next up, we have our flasks, which we're running. Oh, we're running Gold Worm, and I am using the attack and cast speed enchant. So for the flask, we have Divination Distillate, we have Diamond Flask, we have Gold Flask. Now the Gold Flask is nice because it gives you a rarity craft and it gives you 30% quant. And I'm rolling it with 25% increased effect. So if you take a look at it, before we get any of our rarity, we are at 260%. And then when we use Divination Distillate and Rarity Flask, we go up to 81% and 361%. Now, something to note, like people wonder, how do you actually keep up Divination Distillate? So the way we keep up Divination Distillate is we actually use Petrified Blood. The Petrified Blood stops you from recovering your life past 50% unless you use a flask. And then when we use Divination Distillate, you can see we can go all the way past 50%. However, if we turn on Blood Rage, the Blood Rage degen is enough to counteract the Divination Distillate life flask requirement. So you can see here, as long as we have Blood Rage on and Divination Distillate, the flask will be on permanently. So pretty much 100% uptime while mapping. And then once you're done with the map and you want to loot, you can turn off Petrified Blood because it does make you a lot squishier against degens. Now, Petrified Blood is pretty dangerous against degens and Chaos Res, so make sure that you have like at least positive Chaos Res. And you need to watch out for any degen puddles on the ground. And we are ending up using Secrets of Suffering. So if you look at the tree here, it is literally an identical tree to the Lightning Strike Berserker. I did end up dropping Charisma over here and just taking Champion of the Cause to save some points. We do take this Strength Cluster to get enough Omniscience to use the Amulet. So if you look at the Omniscience we currently have, let's see. I think we currently have 700 Omniscience, so 70 all res from this and 70% pen. And we're still using a 2-cluster setup. Make sure to use Field of Fight as one of the cluster nodes in order to get enough mana leech for this. Yeah, so pretty much identical tree to the old school Lightning Strike Berserker. I am using a Thread of Hope here to get some pen, to get One with Nature. This node is actually worse than the Flash node. I meant to switch this out because pen is highly devalued, and I am using Pierce in case I want to use Lightning Strike, and it does help out Frostblades a little bit for clear. So that's basically the general gist of the build, and it's a pretty identical setup as the regular Lightning Strike Berserker, except we do use some different gear to prioritize rarity and quant, right? Next up, we can actually use a lot of different skills, and I decided to play Frostblades because how bad Lightning Strike is on Promenade. Lightning Strike does not work well on Promenade. If you've ever played Lightning Strike on Promenade, it is a disaster waiting to happen. It says Promenade is probably one of the best maps in the game for the cards because it gives you Dying Anguish and Patient. You don't have to worry about the projectiles getting stuck on the pebbles and the height difference, right, on Promenade. So I am using Frostblades for the majority of my gameplay. And Frostblades also happens to be one of the best skills in the game melee-wise for clear because it's not really a melee skill. If you do look at the Frostblade skill gem, you can see here that it has plus 22 to melee strike range, right? So it's pretty much a ranged melee ability. However, if you do run into a map that's hard enough, Lightning Strike does double damage, like I said before. And some other options if you want to be a bit of a meme, you could use Wall Strike, and you can also use Flicker Strike, which should be pretty fun. I will try that out on stream one day. Now, another question you might be asking is, can I do Magic Find without the 12-link claw? And the answer is you could definitely do it, and the damage is still pretty good even without the 12-link claw. And you want to pretty much adjust the difficulty, adjust your gear based on the difficulty of the contest. So this is someone without the 12-link claw. He's just using a shield, cast on death portal. Well, that's not a good sign, so expect to die, right? So he's putting the lightning strike inside of the 6th link, and he's just using lightning strike, Nightblade, multi-strike, awaken wed, and Trinity support gem. So pretty much an identical tree as my setup. And the big difference is pretty much, I mean, the damage is not even that much worse, it seems like. But I'm not really sure like if how much people enjoy playing this setup. It does give you the same amount of quant, and he could use the same petrified blood tech. And there are a couple of people doing this tech from what I saw on PoE Ninja, and it is a lot more common on Raider. I do think a lot of Raider Lightning Strike people do use Magic Find. And the nice thing is that you still have the same rolling blade speed, and the build is functionally identical compared to the 12-link claw, except you are actually a little bit tankier, but I do think the damage is a lot worse, right? So make sure to adjust the gear to the difficulty of the content. And something you can end up doing if you feel like your clear is too bad is you can actually swap out Sedimas for +2 strike gloves, and it should be a huge increase in clear. It'll pretty much double your damage on clear, right? And the Headhunter does carry a lot of stuff, so even without the 12-link claw, you can use the same Magic Find concept if you're kind of sick of the Lightning Strike Zerker and you want to try out some Magic Finding, which is what I did. So overall, Magic Find is extremely enjoyable to play, and it allows you to get the dopamine hit of chase drop. So right now I'm actually drinking some coffee, so that's pretty much the same thing as doing Magic Find in like Promenade. It's constant caffeine and enjoyability, right? And Omniscience and 12-link claw are really, really broken in the amount of overkill damage they provide. And you can pretty much use all Magic Find items and still even do 100% Deli. I should probably throw in Headhunter in here because that belt is actually the main reason why the build is so crazy. And Frostblade is, in my opinion, the best melee skill in the game because it's not really melee. Like I said here, I circle 18 to 21 melee strike range. So yeah, the best melee skill in the game is not really melee. Go figure, right? But thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know down in the comments below what skill you would like me to try with this Magic Find setup. I might try it out Wall Strike and Flicker Strike. But thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you find more mirrors, exalts, and mage bloods than me, and see you next time. Bye.